Alrighty. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another PE live show. So excited to be here with you guys. Wednesday is one of my favorite days. I love to come here and connect with you guys. Today I have a training for you guys. We're going to talk strategy. I've got a little bit of training here, a little mini training for you guys. Let me just go ahead and make sure we are live and good and everyone can see me. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me just log in real quick here. Perfect. We are looking good. All right, everybody, say hello. Let me know if you're here live. Let me know if you're here tuning into the replay. We want to make sure that we are connecting with you, supporting you. We are also going to be doing some Q&A at the end. So I want you guys to sit tight with us and post your questions in the chat as we go. I want to talk about strategy today. I want to talk about THC. I want to talk about THC and why this is so critical for your business and scaling your business. Now, guys, I'm not talking about marijuana. Can you tell me how many of you thought that's what I might be talking about today? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my THC method, okay? You guys are going to want to grab pen, paper, something to write with. This is going to change your life. It is going to change everything in your business today. We're going to give you some practical strategies. We're going to give you some exercise, some questions to ask yourself. And we're going to really strategize in the chat with you guys today about scaling your business. Amanda's laughing. Yeah. So we're not talking about marijuana. When I say THC, I am straight up talking about my THC method. This is something I'm doing with my high-level coaching clients. It's something we're doing in our business, and I am pumped to bring this to you guys today. I'm not holding anything back, so I'm going to give you guys the strategy. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to answer any questions you have in the chat. So what I want you guys to do is grab something to write with, grab a pen, grab some paper. You are going to want to take some notes, and then I want you to share this out with everybody. So this is going to be strategic. I'm going to give you guys strategies. Again, write this stuff down. I want to talk about it. And then any questions you have, drop them in the comment because I'm going to take some time after to answer any questions you have about the THC method, okay? And I'm telling you, this, guys, this is going to change the game for you. Okay, let's talk about the THC method. Start popping your questions in the chat as we go. Let me know if you're here live. Let me know if you're tuned into the replay. Give me hashtag replay, hashtag live. Okay. The first thing I want to share is what the heck is THC, okay? Because it's not what you think, right? THC, guys, is my method for scaling your business, okay? It is traffic, human connection, conversations, and conversions. Write that down because we're going to go into each one of these. And I'm going to give you guys, we're going to talk some strategy. We're going to talk about these things and you're going to evaluate them in your business. And then we're going to make a game plan and you guys are going to go off and execute. Okay. So I want you to remember that. Now, guys, if you're tuning in live and you have a question, if you don't give StreamYard permission, I won't be able to see your name. I can still answer your question. I just won't be able to see your name. Just want to let you guys know you have to give it permission. Okay. Let's talk about the first part of the THC method, which is traffic. Everybody write this down, okay? I want you to go ahead and jot this down. I'm going to go ahead and say first part of THC method is traffic, okay? I'm going to go ahead and just pop that into the chat for you guys. I want you to write this down and let's talk about this. So the first part of the THC method is traffic, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself and I want you to evaluate. I want you to look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And I want you to ask yourself if when it comes to the traffic in your business, how are you bringing, okay? How are you bringing in or how are you attracting, how are you generating 10 to 20 new leads in your Facebook group or your email list every single day? Now, if you're someone who's looking to scale beyond multiple 6 or 7 figures, you're probably looking at 50 to 100 new leads per day, right? But if you're just looking to get to that first 6-figure mark, right? If that's you, you're probably looking at needing about 10 to 20 brand new leads per day coming into your Facebook group or coming into your email list. Okay, so you evaluate where you are. And then that helps you to kind of determine what you need. If you're trying to get to your first 6-figure or even multiple 6, you're going to need to be looking at 10 to 20 new leads per day. Okay. Now I want you to ask yourself, are you doing this right now? right? Are you doing this now? Are you already seeing those kind of leads come in every day? Do you have a system in place for generating new leads? Traffic, right? How are you growing your audience per day like that? Okay, depending on where you are. And then I want you to kind of look at, okay, what do I need to improve? So you might be saying, okay, I'm not bringing in 10 to 20 new leads per day. You might say, I'm not bringing any new leads per day, right? Or you might say, I'm bringing some, but it's not consistent, right? Not steady. You guys, if you want, you could share in the chat where you're at when it comes to generating new leads and traffic in your business. Is it happening? Is it consistent? Is it at the level that you need it to be? Or do you need to make improvements? Does something need to change, right? Does something need to change? Do you need to improve somewhere? Like, what needs to happen for this to be your, for this to be your new normal, 10, 20 new leads per day? Or like I said, if you're scaling, it might be 50 to 100 leads per day, right? We need to find out if this is happening, right? So what do you need to improve in the traffic section in order for you to reach your money goals, right? So if you're trying to hit your first 100K per year, if you're trying to hit 300K, 250 or 300K a year, 500K, if you're trying to go for that $1 million mark, your numbers play a big part in those numbers happening. Your traffic needs to be there, right? You have to be generating new traffic, and we're going to talk about what you need to be doing with that traffic. But first things first, you need an audience, right? If you're trying to make a certain amount of money in your business, you need an audience to sell to. You need people to buy from, right? So I want you to look at what is the areas in traffic that you need to improve, or where there's room for improvement. You might say, Ann, I'm actually doing pretty well with my lead gen, but I would like to see it be better. Maybe I would like to see higher quality leads, or maybe I just need to see more leads, right? What I want you to do, and take a minute right now to just kind of write down traffic. And then underneath that, I want you to list 1 to 3 things that you could be doing to improve, or 1 to 3 things that need to improve. Like, what needs to improve? So you might say, I need more leads. I need higher quality leads. So maybe you are bringing in some leads, but they're not high quality. They're not the right leads. Okay, so you need more leads or higher quality. Or maybe you feel like, I don't have a system in place for lead generation, right? I'm not really generating leads. I don't really have a system in place for how this is going to happen every day in my business. Okay, so I want you to come up with 1 to 3 areas of improvement in terms of traffic. So when we're just looking at the first part of the THC method, we're just talking traffic. Don't worry about the other things just yet. I want you to look at your lead generation system and how you need to be networking in 2021 in order for you to reach your money goals. So if you're trying to generate more sales, you probably need to create more of an audience, right? You probably need more leads, or you need higher quality leads, right? You might say, I have actually a pretty big audience. I'm generating leads, but like they're not converting. Okay, so that's probably not a traffic problem. So what I want you guys doing as you're listening here and thinking about this, the first thing that we need to do is identify if you have a traffic problem or if it's something else. So the way that you can tell is if you're not generating leads consistently, or they're not high quality leads, that is a traffic problem. You're not creating more conversions. You're not making more money. You're not generating more sales, not because you or your offer. It's probably because you just don't have enough of the right people in your audience. That's a traffic problem. Before we change things, and in order to go into 2021 ready to scale, you need to know what your gaps are. You need to know the problem. So if you are generating an audience, if you have leads coming in steadily, you're networking, you're generating leads, you're generating an audience, but you're not seeing more sales, you have a traffic problem. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, so Amanda said it's not happening the way I want it to. Perfect. So what you want to do, Amanda, is you want to be looking at, what do you want to see? Is it higher quality leads, More leads? Do you want to make sure, do you need to maybe make sure that you actually have an effective functional lead generation system in place, right? A lot of entrepreneurs that we talk to are kind of flying by the seat of their pants when it comes to lead generation. They're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but there's not really like a system in place, right? Where there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 to 100 leads every single day coming into your space. That is a lack of traffic. That's a traffic problem. That means that you don't have a system in place to generate leads, which means you're probably having conversion problems, right? And you might be changing the wrong things. This is something to be thinking about, right? This is what we evaluate when we look at our company is like, okay, is it a traffic problem? Is it a conversion problem? Is it a connection? Like, what is it? Right? What is the problem before we make any changes? Because you might be changing your offers, your price points. You guys might be changing your content, your niche, your messaging, and it might be a traffic problem. It might have nothing to do with those things. You might be having a traffic problem. So the first thing first, guys, is traffic. Everything as far as money and sales in your business comes down to the people that you're attracting and selling to and the amount. So the frequency, as well as the quality, right? And the amount of leads. All of those things, guys, factor into your conversions, right? Okay, so that is step number one. Hopefully you guys wrote that down. Okay, that is traffic. So now I'm hoping you guys have kind of like thought about this a little bit. Maybe you wrote down 1 to 3 things. Okay, don't go crazy. Just start with 1 to 3 things that are maybe some things you need to improve as far as traffic goes, okay? Now, the second part of my THC system is the human connection, okay? I'll go ahead and I'll write it below, and anyone else that wants to go ahead and write this in as well. The second part of the THC method is human connection. This is the second part because what happens when you bring a new lead into your space? What happens? This is critical. Here is the part where you could see a decrease in your conversions is when you have a flow of leads coming in, you're doing networking, you're doing lead generation, you're growing your audience, your list, your Facebook group, you have leads coming in, but there's nothing happening with those leads to activate them. So you have leads coming in, you have a lead pool, but they're not converting because they're not engaging and they're not showing up and there's no conversations happening. And they're not going anywhere. Nothing is happening with those leads. You're sending out content and you're fishing them through all your stuff and you're busting out content and you know what I mean? You're posting and you're emailing and you're doing all the things, but like there's nothing happening with the audience. Some people say crickets. Some people say I have a dead list or a dead group or a dead community or they're crickets or they're not buyers or whatever. We can make up a million different reasons why we're not seeing conversions from that audience. Okay, so in this second part, I want you to write this down, human connection. This is the second part. And I want you to ask yourself and I want you to look, what is happening? What happens as soon as a new lead enters your Facebook group or your email list, right? As soon as a new lead comes into your space, what happens? What is your process? What is your system? What is your step? What happens next? For some of you, you might say nothing. I don't know what to do. Some of you might have a few things that you do. What does that look like? What are those things, right? What I want you to ask yourself is, what is the experience that you want to cultivate inside of your community for your new members? So when a new member comes in, what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen when a brand new potential client, okay, because every lead that comes into your space is a potential client. There's an opportunity there. What do you want to see happen when a lead enters your space for the first time? Do you want them to comment? Do you want them to DM you? Do you want them to sign up for something? Do you want them to share something, answer something? What do you want to see happen when that new lead comes into your community, right? What happens next? Do they just sit there? Do you tag them in a bunch of random stuff? Do you tag them in a welcome post and then you never speak to them again? Do you pitch to them the second they join? Do you hit them up in the DM? Hey, welcome to the community. I have this thing. You should buy it. What happens? What happens once that lead comes into your space? What is your system? What is it that you're doing to move cold consumers to active paying clients? And here's what I want to tell you. When a lead enters your space, your group, your email list for the first time, this is a cold consumer. That means that this is someone who is cold. They do not know, like, or trust you yet. And this is also someone who's just coming in to consume. They're coming in to check you out. They're coming in to silently spy. They're just checking you out quietly. They're probably not engaging. They're probably not commenting. They're probably not buying and signing up for stuff. They are consumers. And until they become more active participants in your group, they're going to be cold consumers. So they may or may not comment, okay? But they're checking out your stuff in their cold lead. Your job is to create a system that brings that cold consumer to being an active paying client who's now interested, invested in what you do, curious, excited, wants to know more. They're commenting, they're engaging, they're signing up for your stuff. They're showing up, they're showing you they're pretty interested, they're active. So what is happening when a lead comes into your community to create and cultivate that experience, right? So I want you looking at your process if you have one, or is that something you need to improve on? Do you need to improve? I want you to write down just 1 to 3 things in the human connection area that need improvement as we head into 2021. Some of you guys have so many potential buyers in your audience and you don't even know it. You're not even aware of it because there's no human connection happening. There's no two-way conversations. You don't have an activation system in place. So people are coming in, but there's no process, step-by-step process that's happening to activate that audience and get that person in each of those people as individuals from cold consumers to active potential buyers, right? So what I want you guys to do is kind of look at how are you building that know, like, and trust right away, the minute they come join, right? And then how are you creating content and getting that person, each of those people, to buy into what you do, to get excited about what you do, to get interested in what you do, right? So when you guys come into my community, the Simplify the Scale, when you guys come into my Facebook community, there's things that are happening on the front end and in the back end, stuff you can see, stuff you don't see, right? There's things happening in the back end that you don't see, you don't know about. And then there's things on the front end that you can see. We have a system that's being implemented strategically and intentionally for every lead that enters, every human that comes into our Facebook group. There's a step-by-step process that takes place. It's a system. And the system's designed to cultivate co-creation, community, collaboration, conversation amongst the members in our community that creates an experience, right, that brings our leads from cold consumers to active, interested, excited potential buyers, people that are DMing us, wanting to know how to work with us, people who are engaging in our stuff, signing up for our stuff, buying our things, checking us out, following us on all of our different channels, right? And all of that is happening in the front end and the back end of our system for activating our audience, okay? So I want you guys to be thinking about a few things. Number one, what needs to improve with your human connection? What experience are you looking to have? So what kind of vibe and experience are you trying to cultivate? When you think about your client journey, what do you want that process to look like? I want you to create that system, create that experience and that system inside your community, right? If you don't change the cultivation, if you don't change what's happening, then you're not going to get a different outcome, right? In order for you to take your people from cold consumers to active potential buyers, something in your system has to change to create that outcome, to create that experience, right? You want to create a buyer experience is what you want to do. And so you need to look at what is happening, what's not happening, where is there room for improvement? So you might say, I actually don't have a nurture or activation system in place at all, right? You might say, I need to improve what I do have. Maybe there are some things that you're doing. Maybe there's some steps that you're taking that you are doing when people enter your space for the first time, but maybe it needs to be improved, or maybe it's missing some pieces or components, or maybe it's just not working that well, right? So this is where you could be on two ends of the scale here. You might be someone who's got the traffic thing down, but the conversion thing isn't happening. And it could be not a traffic problem. It could be a human connection problem, right? Do you guys see how we're going through the layers so you can evaluate what the actual problem is? The symptom that you guys are having is lack of conversions, not enough conversions, not high quality leads, no leads at all. These are symptoms. They're not the problem. The problem is either you have a traffic problem, a human connection problem, right? So you might be someone who's got the traffic section down. You've got those quality leads flowing in, but maybe they're dead. There's nothing happening. They're not converted. Nothing's happening with them. So that's not a traffic problem. That's an activation problem. That's a human connection problem. That means that people are coming in, but then you're not doing anything with them that makes them become a paying client. So that's not a traffic problem. That's a people problem. Okay? Or you could be the opposite. You might not have enough traffic or high quality leads coming in every day. And so even though you're doing all the human connection and you're tagging and you're doing all the things and you have a good system in your Facebook group, it could be that they're not converting because you don't have enough quality leads. So that would be a traffic problem. The goal here is I want you guys to understand what your actual problems are, not your symptoms, but the actual problems. So you can kind of come up with 1 to 3 improvement areas or ideas for improving these areas that we're going through today. Okay, so hopefully you're writing these things down, because if we don't change them, then the outcome doesn't change, right? So I don't want you to look at your symptoms. I want you to look at the problem, okay? When you change the problem, your symptoms will dissipate. They'll go away. So if you say that your symptoms right now, I'm not getting enough paying clients, I'm not able to scale, I've hit an income plateau, I don't have enough leads, or I have leads, but they're not quality, or I have leads and they are quality, but there's not enough engagement or conversions, I want you to figure out, those are all symptoms. Those are not problems. Those are symptoms. The problem is you either have a traffic problem, like we just talked about, or you have a human connection problem, an activation problem. So now that we have that down, okay, now let's go into the third part of the THC system. I want you guys to write this down, and I'll go ahead here too, and I'll put it in the comments for you. The third part, guys, in the THC system is conversations and conversions. I went ahead and dropped it in the comments, but I want you to write that down. And now I want to talk about this part, okay? And we're going to evaluate this for you as well. When it comes to conversations and conversions, okay, I want you guys to ask yourself, how often are you pulling leads that you've collected, humans, into private direct conversations? Oftentimes what I see is people filling up their group, right? Or filling up their email list. Everybody tells you, you got to have a big list. You got to have a big list. It's not about a big list. It's about consistent leads and high quality leads. And then you need a system to activate them. There's no point in building up an audience if you don't have a system in place to actually move those leads from cold consumer to a potential paying client. There's literally no point in growing your audience if you're not going to put a system in place that's going to activate them and take them from a cold consumer to a potential paying client. Literally, there's no point in growing your list if you're not going to do that, right? So this third part is about the conversations and the conversions, and I want you looking at and asking yourself what it is that, how often are you pulling leads into private conversations with you to get to know them, to connect with them, to talk about their challenges and how you might be able to help them? How often are you doing that? How many conversations have you had today? How many conversations have you had with the people in your audience today? How many did you have yesterday? If you guys want to share, that's awesome. Drop it in the chat. But how many conversations, private, direct, two-way, human to human, you and I talking like humans together, how many human-to-human private conversations did you have yesterday? How many have you had so far today? Or how many are on your calendar to have today? You could be doing this in the DM. You could do it on the phone. I don't care how you do it. But are they happening? Are these happening? Okay. If so, how many per day are you having? It's not just about doing them. It's about how many of them are you doing. If you're trying to generate more sales, you've got to get into conversations with people. Okay. You're going to do this inside and outside of any launches. You should be pulling people into private conversations, right? I want you to ask yourself, what's happening in those conversations? Where are you getting stuck, or where are the conversations stalling? So if you are someone who says, actually, I am having conversations, I'm pulling people into combos, people are booking calls with me, we're chatting it up in the DMs, people are getting on consultation calls with me, great. What is happening on those calls? How are they structured? What is the intention? Are the expectations clear for the both of you on what's going to take place on that call? And what's happening on that call? What is happening inside of those conversations? We have people that will come and say, having great conversations, talking to a lot of potential clients, but nobody's buying. We'll have people say, my conversations are stalling. I'm just getting lost in the conversation. I don't know how to move it forward. I don't know how to take them from conversation and then transition into talking about my program. I'm getting stuck there. We have other people who say, I'm just not able to get people into conversations. Nobody books with me. Nobody listens. Nobody clicks my invites, right? Wherever you're at, you just need to look at, are you having conversations every day? And what do they look like? What's happening in there? Where are you getting stuck? Where are these stalling? Where is there room for you to have more conversations every day? Okay. The other thing I want you to ask yourself is, are you booking 1 to 3 consultation calls per day? And if not, why not? If you're not, why aren't you? Okay. And I want you to ask yourself, what needs to change to make that happen? What needs to change for you to have 1 to 3 consultations on your calendar or happening in the DMs every day? That comes down to traffic and human connection. Some of you don't have enough of an audience to even pull in consultation calls like that. Some of you don't have enough people in your audience to have daily conversations, or you might have enough people, but they're not engaged because you haven't been doing the human connection. So now you have an audience and you're like, geez, I don't understand why nobody's buying, nobody's booking, nobody's getting in conversation with me. And it could be because you haven't nurtured them. You haven't connected with them. You haven't built any relationship with them. So you might have enough people. You might have a whole pool of buyers. You probably do in your audience. You probably do. And they're not buying because you haven't taken time to build any real relationship with them. That's affecting your conversions. But that's not a conversion problem. That's a human connection problem and possibly a traffic problem. Do you guys see how I'm going to keep bringing it back to the actual problem versus your symptoms? Change your problem, fix the problems, right? If you fill those leaks, if you seal those leaks in your business, you fix the problem, the symptoms will go away. And you'll have the experience that you're trying to experience. You need to fix the problems. A lot of entrepreneurs focus on the symptoms, right? When we talk with them and we bring them in our programs and we're talking to them and we're figuring out the game plan, a lot of times what we find is that they haven't fixed the leaks in their business. They're focusing on the symptoms, right? They're not actually solving the problems. They're just focusing on all the symptoms from the problems. That's not going to solve the situation. You're going to get the same outcome every time, right? So this is not about your symptoms. It's about actually fixing and solving your problem. Okay, but you have to identify the problem first, which is why I'm walking you through this, okay? All right, and then I want you to ask yourself if you're closing those conversations, or do you feel like you're getting more objections versus just questions? There's a difference there. People getting on a call with you, asking you questions versus giving you objections. Those are two different things. But I want you to figure out what the block is in the conversations that you're having. Why are they not converting? Where are you getting stuck? Where are things going kind of south? What is happening in the conversations that you are having? And again, you guys have to remember, you need to have a certain level of conversations every day to create a certain amount of conversions every day, right? You can't just sit back and be like, I don't know, I'm hanging out waiting for people to buy from me, and be like, I don't understand why sales aren't coming in. You can't fill your Facebook group with a bunch of random leads, not nurture them, not connect with them, not make sure they're high quality, and then sit back and say, I don't know, I'm pitching, promoting, selling, nobody's buying. These are problems, and these are problems that need to be fixed if you want your outcome in your situation to change. They're not going to change by sitting back and saying, I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening. We need to figure it out, and you need to solve the problems, right? Don't worry about the symptoms. Solve the problem, symptoms will go away, okay? So you might say, you could be saying, I'm not having any conversations, or I'm just not having enough. I need definitely more. Okay. You might say maybe you don't have time to do them. I don't have any time. If you don't have time in your business, if you're at a level in your business where you're like, I can't sit in the conversations and DMs all day, I don't have time for that. If you're that person, then you need to hire a social seller to do this for you. It's not an option, right? You don't get so busy in your business that you say, oh, I don't have time for lead gen. I don't have time for human connection. I don't have time to have consult calls. That's not even an option. You run a business. So if you don't have time, if you're at the place in your business where you don't have the time to do those things, then you need to hire a social seller to do them for you. One way or another, all three of these things need to get done. Okay? You might say that you're having conversations, but they're not converting, or not enough of them are converting. And that is not they could be a traffic problem. You could be bringing in some of the wrong people. Maybe they're not high quality enough. They're not really investors. They're not buyers. You might be talking to people that are not spending money. You might be talking to people that are not investing right now. So you're having a hard time converting people. It could be a traffic problem, but it could also be that these people, it could be a conversion problem in the sense of you're not really good at selling. Right? It could be that you're not that good at selling. And so you're getting people into conversations, but you don't know how to convert them. And you're not that good at selling. If that's the case, you need to write that down. And that's a problem. That's a conversion problem that you need to solve. That's not going to go away on its own. You can attract all the leads you want. If you don't know how to sell, that problem is not going away. Okay. So I want you guys to really reflect on what is a problem and what is a symptom, because I want you to focus less on the symptoms and I want you to get to the problems and solve them. It's the only way the symptoms are going to change. It's the only way your outcome is going to change. You want more clients, you want more money, you want more sales, you want bigger impact. These things have to change. So if any of the things we're going through today with the THC method, if you have gaps in those things, if those things are not happening, or you need to make improvements in those areas, that's your focus right now. As you get ready to head into 2021, this is your focus, is to improve these three areas so that you can increase your income and your impact, right? And this is without having to add additional things on your plate. You're just improving the things you're already doing that are not working as well as they need to be, as well as you want them to be, as well as they could be if you fixed the problems and stopped focusing on just the symptom. Okay, we have people all the time that come to us. I'm not making enough money. I'm not having enough conversations. I'm not generating enough sales. People are not engaged. Nobody's listening to me. Okay, those are symptoms though. Why is that happening? That's not normal. That's not like how people operate a business, right? Like you don't see successful people saying that they have those problems. So it's not normal. And those are not those are symptoms. That's just your symptom of a bigger problem. And the bigger things that I want you looking at is the T, H, and the C. Okay, that's what you're looking at, the THC method today. This is what I want you to focus on, and I want you to hone in on these three areas, and I want you to identify the actual problems, not the symptoms, the actual problems, and then how are we going to solve them? It's not an option to not solve them. So they need to be solved. And you can't really solve a problem if you don't know what the problem is, right? So I want you to ask yourself in those conversations, where are you getting stuck in them? What's happening on these calls, right? We talk to a lot of people who are having a lot of calls and they are not converting. What is happening there? Where are things going wrong? Where are they falling flat? Where are things going south? Why are more of those conversations not moving to conversions? What is happening there? Are you even selling enough? Sometimes we have people that you're not even, I look at your stuff and I'm like, oh, you're not selling anything, or I'm not clear what you're trying to sell, or I don't know if you have anything to sell. Like I can't tell. So sometimes I see that. And then the other time I see way too much promotion, way too much quick pitching, right? And in the Simplify the Scale inside of my programs, we don't do quick pitches. Okay. We focus on the THC method 1000%. It's just having specific systems in place that bring leads through a certain journey, a certain experience that lead them to become paying clients. It's very simple. It's a very simple method. It's a matter of just hunkering down, getting focused and disciplined, and doing the things that need to get done, right? Okay. Now, some of you guys are at different levels and stages in your business, so this could look different. What I want each of you to do is I want you to look at how the THC method looks like in your own business, and I want you to come up with 1 to 3 ways for each thing, the traffic, the human connection, and then the conversations and conversions, I want you to come up with 1 to 3 ways for each one of those that you could improve and do better. Okay? To make those systems work better for you and help you reach your money goals and your impact goals. I want you to look at each one of those. And I want you to remember that business is a numbers game, guys. Okay, so it's very critical that you're focusing less on creating a bunch of content and quick pitching and promo and all of this other stuff, focusing on technology and systems and setting up this and setting up that and doing all these things, starting over and constantly selling something new. I want you to focus more on your people and building those relationships, right? Having a list or a community is entirely pointless, you guys, if you're not converting them into clients and serving and having an impact on their lives, right? So I want you to look at these areas. Where can you do better? And I want you to come up with a little plan for yourself as you head into 2021 for what and who do you need in each of those areas to help the needle move closer to sales. Okay. If you're a solopreneur, so if you're kind of working by yourself, you do not have a team, you don't have anything like that in place, you're probably doing all of these yourself. So this is going to come down to your time management. This is going to come down to your discipline. This is going to come down with how you're using your time. And your time should be THC, generating traffic and networking every day of your life. Human connection, so getting into conversations, building no like and trust, serving those people, providing value, connecting with those people and nurturing them every day of your life. And then having and pulling people into conversations, genuine, authentic conversations that move the needle toward a conversion or a consultation call every day of your life. As a solopreneur, those are your 3 jobs. If you're not making, 10, 20, 30, 40K a month, there's nothing else you should be doing. No Canva, no website, no sales page, no technology, no systems. These 3 things is what you should be doing. These are the money-making activities in a business, in any business at any level. Okay? Now, if you are a scaler, if you're someone who is multiple 6 or even 7 figures, then you're looking to probably bring on a team of social sellers. These are people who will execute your THC system. Right? These are people we have on our team who generate our leads, nurture and activate our leads, and close and convert our leads. Right? Like as a CEO of a business, I can't be doing those things and serve my clients and show up and be visible and get on, podcasts and interviews and run my business and drive the vision and lead a team. I can't do all that by myself. I don't even try. So if you're someone who's trying to scale, you're focusing on the THC method, but you're having a team come in and master those and execute those for you so you can be the CEO of your company. You are the face of your company. So you need to get out there and collaborate. You need to get out there and get on podcasts. You need to figure out how you're going to grow an audience, right? And you need to get team social sellers to come in and help you execute that strategy, right? So it just depends on where you're at. But here's the thing. The process is the same. It's no more effort to go from $0 a month to 100K a month. It's no additional, it's the THC method. That's all you need to be focusing on. And it's the only difference is going to be the level in which you do that. Like I said, a solopreneur is probably looking at 10 to 20 leads a day, whereas someone going to multiple 7 and beyond, you're probably looking at 50 to 100 a day. That's the only difference. The process is the same. The system is the same. The focus is the same. And if you're a solopreneur, you're doing this. You are the social seller. If you are a scaler, you're hiring social sellers to do this for you. That's the only difference. Process is the same. The system is the same. The strategy is the same. Okay? So it doesn't change. You don't have to put more effort and do more things as you grow and scale. You hire people to do that for you, or you can't scale. You can't scale your own business all by yourself. You need to hire people to do that, right? And in the beginning, when you're first getting started, it's you doing it, right? It's you doing this. You're the one that needs to go out and generate the leads every day, 10 to 20 of them per day. You're the person who needs to pull those in and put them through a proper system that's going to get them from just quietly consuming your content to actually becoming a possible paying client. That's your job every day. And then your job is to get in those conversations and convert them. That's your job every day, until you're no longer a solopreneur and you can hire someone to come take that over for you. But the system is the same at any level of business. The THC method, I followed 20 years ago when I built my first VA agency, and I follow it today. Okay. And I followed it when I first started this business. It's the same exact focus. It's the same strategies, principles, and systems. You're just looking at different levels. Okay. So the cool thing is if you are new and you're the one doing all of this, you won't be the one doing it. Once you master these and they generate results for you, you hand it off, right? And that's how you can begin to scale. So it just comes down to this, guys. You have to make the time and do what needs to be done, okay? There are no excuses here. We don't get, as business owners, to say, I don't have time. That's not an option. You run a business, you signed up for this, yes, you have to make the time. You make the time, you find the time. There's no excuses here. And, you can't say, I don't have time, it's not good timing. When is good timing? There's never good timing, guys. You run a business. Your job is to make it happen. You figure it out, you do what needs to be done, and you get the job done. There are no excuses, not time, not money, not economy, not environment, not anything. There's no excuses. You are a business owner. You do whatever it takes and you find the time and you make it to do what needs to get done. If that means that you need to hire a mentor to help you, then you hire a mentor to help you. If it means you need to hire social sellers to come in and help you, then you hire social sellers to come in and get the job done. If it means that you need to put these systems in place and you need to take time to figure that out, you find the time and you get that job done, right? You're not going to grow your business and you're not even going to have a business if you think you can make excuses of time, environment, bad this, bad timing, it's not convenient, it's just, I'm too busy right now. Welcome to entrepreneurship, guys. We're all busy. We're all going through COVID. We're all going through the economic stuff. We're all going through all of it. We're all tired. We're all busy. Business is not convenient, and there is no good timing. Your job as a business owner is to get the job done. It doesn't matter what you need to do. You find time, you make time. Stop doing things that are not driving the needle in your business and focus on the money-making activities. You have to get rid of other things that are not priority so you have time for the things that are priority, right? And when you signed up to be a business owner, guys, this is what you signed up for. We don't get to say, it's bad timing. It's not a good time right now. I don't have time. I'm scared. We don't get to do that, right? Because everything in your business relies on you. It's all up to you. There's no one above you writing a paycheck for you showing up every day. It's all up to you, right? So as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as CEOs, as leaders, impactors, we don't get to make excuses. We don't get to say, I'll do it next week, maybe next month, maybe next year. Yeah, I'll worry about growing my business next year and I'll just bitch right now that I have no money for the next year. We don't get to do that. We don't get to say, but it's not convenient. It's bad timing. I'm busy. You're going to always be busy. You are running a business, guys. What I want you to do is make the time. Get the job done. You do whatever needs to be done to get your results. Okay? That is something that is a huge, huge thing in this industry is excuses. And you just don't get to make them or your business will not grow, right? Your business will not move forward if you function every day on making excuses. I don't have the money. I can't find the money. I don't have the time. Find it. Figure it out. You started a business. Business costs money. Business costs time. It costs energy. You have to make mistakes. You have to get in there. You have to be vulnerable. You have to put yourself out there. You have to take risks. No business in this world started and launched their business for free. Businesses cost money and time. And they cost trial and testing and error and vulnerability and risk. All of it. There's no guarantee with anything. There is no good time. There's no convenient. I'll be less busy next year. No, you won't. Right? If you want your business to grow and scale, you want more clients, you want to make more money, find a way to get the job done. Stop making excuses. Okay? This is like a take-home statement, guys. You've got to stop making excuses. You don't get to say, I want to be a business owner who makes all this impact and all this money and I want to do all these wonderful things and then sit back and say, I just can't right now. It's such bad timing. Everyone is going through all the same stuff, right? And this is the difference between success and struggle, because the person who's successful doesn't make those excuses and the person struggling does nothing but make excuses. Take that home, guys. Take that straight to the bank. You've got to change that, okay? All right. If you guys have any questions, drop them below. I love coming here on Wednesdays and doing these little mini trainings with you guys. Definitely, as you're catching in on the replay, let us know any questions you have about the THC method. And I hope you guys took some notes and you're going to execute this. I will see you guys next Wednesday on another